Let's have a look at process capability levels, their symptoms and their remedies. The whole idea is that you should be able to tell in some ways if you're at level 1, for example, what's it going to look like and what should you do about it. So let's get started. Now, at level 1 in capability for software development, things are pretty chaotic. The work is done by heroic effort. There isn't any particular organised way of doing things, and the results are pretty much a matter of luck. Did the hero manage to do things right that day? So it all looks pretty chaotic, and the quality is variable from project to project and from piece to piece. It just depends who's working on it at the time. The answer to that is to essentially to write it down. And how do you get things done? How does the software get developed? How should you write the requirements, and what does that look like? And how does that then feed into the architecture? How do you do the architecture, and what should the architecture look like? When you've done that, how do you do the development? How do you do the design of various things? Simply writing it down so that there is a consistent way of doing things helps enormously. Then people have some idea of what what's expected of them, what is to be done. Now, having said that, I have to point out that in this day and age, when you've got so many tools and development environments, personally I wouldn't bother too much with a manual process of writing it down. I'd simply install the tools and configure them so that things got done the way I wanted them done. It has the same effect. Now, level 2, capability level 2, if you are beginning on capability level 2, or if an organisation has got capability level 1 under control but not 2, what it's going to look like is that things will be fairly unpredictable. The work floats about a bit. I mean, you're lacking project management or adequate project management. So the work will be subject to a lot of blowouts, a lot of rescoping, and you will have a lot of intervention by the project manager, simply because the project management itself wasn't done adequately in the first place. There was not adequate estimation, there was not adequate planning. There is very little to coordinate all the efforts between everybody, and it just is fairly disorganized, even if the quality of the code itself is not too bad. So the cure for that is to put your project management in place, put your configuration management in place, put in whatever else it is you need to control, keep the work products under control, so that you are you're getting the right inputs, putting them into the process, and getting the right outputs, and they're going to the right place, and you're not dealing with old versions of things. So that's level 2. Now, level 3, here is where you're trying to interface to the rest of the organization. So if you have software being developed in one part of the organization, or some part of the software being developed in one part of the organization, and it has to interface with another part of the organization, then how are those interfaces managed? Do you get them done properly, or is it just a persistent mismatch? Now, this I gather this matters quite a bit in large organizations where you get very divisionalized. There will be a database section, there will be another section that does the user interface development, another section that looks after enterprise architecture. You might get another section who looks after some particular business process or business domain. Now, unless all these different divisions have some way of agreeing how their work is going to be presented, how the work will be exchanged, then what you're going to get is a lot of coordination failures. Things will just go wrong. And the whole purpose of level 3 in capability is to try and overcome that, to try and get these interfaces defined and get the processes agreed across the organization so that the work can go without these major coordination failures. The whole idea there is just simply to align the processes. Now at level 4, you've got everything running within the organisation. It's reasonably well exchanged, it's reasonably smooth, but the bugs keep coming. Now some of the symptoms of an organisation struggling at level 4 is that there will be a lot of attempts to improve things, but nothing seems to work and nothing seems to stick. So there's every good intention to improving things, but no actual sound way of establishing what in fact the problem is and what the cure is. Now at this level 4, you start bringing in statistical process control or evidence-based improvements. So at this level you are obliged to not only think that there is something wrong, but just like any good science, you have to have a hypothesis, you go get the data, you prove your hypothesis, and once you've done that, then you're in a better position to make an improvement. So that's at level 4, and that's a fairly consistent message out of level position to make an improvement. So that's at level 4. Now at level 5, the whole purpose of level 5, the whole purpose of level 3000 in the SPICE standard was based on the observation 3000 in the SPICE standard was based on the observation changes. They do something, they get pretty good at doing something, and then it changes. They do something, they get pretty good at doing something, and then years or 30 years or whatever number of years, the number of organizations, years or 30 years or whatever number of years, the number of organizations, because the organizations do find it very difficult to change the way they do things, because the organizations do find it very difficult to change the way they do things. Trying deliberately to have an organization disrupt things. The whole push for maturity and quality processes tend to make things very much fixed in place, and people are reluctant to change these very big complicated processes because everything is so intertwined. Well, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to learn how to do that, and level 5 is intended that you do that. There could be all sorts of reasons why you need to do that, from changing technology, changing competition, changing regulation, changing markets. The reasons for change are numerous. Changing markets, the reasons for change are new. Innovation. Now, if you're going to have innovation, then the processes with which you produce things have to change. Innovation. Now, if you're going to have innovation, then the process. So the symptoms at level 5 is that the organization tends to be kind of moribund. So the symptoms at level 5 is that the organization tends to be kind of moribund. I can't do that, the process doesn't support it, or that I can't do that, the process doesn't support it, or that just haven't kept pace with either the realities of work or what the realities ought to be. Just haven't kept pace with either the realities of work or at a learning organization. So there's the rough guide to the process capability levels, what they look like when you're at a level and struggling to overcome that level, and the kinds of things that you can do or should be doing at that level to get better.